Though not often associated with immigration reform, members of the Black community will gather here today on Capitol Hill to discuss those issues unique to their communities.
Ready to move the bill.
The repeal is not retroactive and will not change the fate of the 5 inmates currently on Maryland's death row. It is the governor's decision to commute their sentences to life without parole. O'Malley has said that he will consider each case independently. Death penalty opponents say the Maryland repeal represents a nationwide attitude shift away from capital punishment.
I think we're going to find that many states actually go the way of Maryland. Study it, decide we can't fix it, and then move on, or look at the experience of states like Maryland and decide it's not worth the trouble.
Maryland is the 6th state in 6 years and the 18th state to repeal the death penalty. 14 other states have active repeal legislation. The Delaware House of Representatives is expected to consider a bill in April. The trend towards abolition continues in Colorado, where legislators Friday introduced a bill that would end the death penalty. Reporting for AU News, I'm Ashley Abraham. President Obama's announcement of the BRAIN Initiative was met with enthusiasm, but then researchers began wondering, what exactly is the plan? The president asked for $100 million in the 2014 fiscal year to fund innovative neuroscience research.
So there's this enormous mystery waiting to be unlocked. And the BRAIN Initiative will change that by giving scientists the tools they need to get a dynamic picture of the brain in action.
No specifics have been disclosed, and researchers are asking, where will the money come from? And more importantly, who will get it?
It would be wonderful if this $100 million came from a separate pot of money, but one is concerned that in this time of the sequester it won't, and as a consequence that could be less individual investigator-funded research.
The National Institutes of Health would see the most money at $40 million. Despite the concerns over funding, researchers say the decision represents an important commitment to high-risk, high-reward research to better understand the neural basis of disease.
It's an acknowledgement that we can't solve problems, we can't cure diseases if we don't know the basic mechanisms of what underlies these diseases.
Congress must approve the BRAIN Initiative as part of the President's 2014 budget. Reporting for District Wire News, I'm Ashley Abraham. Federal employees in the D.C. metro area and across the country will face cutbacks if Congress can't reach an agreement on the federal budget by Friday. $85 billion worth of spending cuts will go into effect. The budget cuts would mean federal employees will be forced to take unpaid furlough days and have their pay frozen for another year. Few are optimistic about a resolution. A Wells Fargo report shows that employees here in D.C., Maryland, and Virginia would be among those most severely impacted by the cuts. The sequestration has been a threat since 2011 and was narrowly avoided by a last-minute extension on January 1st of this year. The new deadline for a budget deal is quickly approaching. Some experts fear that federal employees are going to have to shoulder an unfair burden if the sequestration goes into effect.
To $103 billion, that's billion with a B, over 10 years that federal employees have already sacrificed to reduce our country's debt issue. Now we're asking for these people to go out of work for 22 days this year in the case of defense employees, EPA employees 7 days, Department of Housing and Urban Development 7 days. And this is going to happen at other agencies all throughout government. Federal employees are really at their breaking point, and sequestration is what's going to put them over the edge.
Estimates released this weekend from the White House say nearly 160,000 workers in the D.C. metro area would be impacted by the sequestration. Reporting for AU News, I'm Ashley Abraham.